Okay, so I want it to be interactive session as well. So make use of the chat box completely. Okay, so let me share my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so good morning, everybody, and let us start with this session. I'm really very excited to have this session for so many people, and this was kept as an open invite to whoever wanted to join for this session. It is purely designed towards your personal growth, your professional growth, and how can you become a great successful person in your life is what this session is all about. This is purely for you, and this is designed keeping in the way that this can help out professionals from all across the industries. It is not limited to one specific industry, it is for everybody. So are you all excited for this session? Just write excited in the chat box if you are really excited. I want that energy to transfer from either side. That lot of energy should come from your end to me as well, so that I remain continuously energetic towards delivering this session. Just write excited in the chat box. Okay, so let's go ahead. We are starting with this considering the time constraints. We will not waste too much of time in talking other topics. So to start with, I have given an example of my journey, a short period of 8 years of journey where I started from a manager to a country head level as of now. So there are 6 levels which have been achieved, and how did it happen? So there are two pictures, one you see at the left side, one you see at the right side. It is purely for you to understand why it should happen with one person and how can it happen with many other people. One is hard work, and second is a passion to grow. Second is a passion to grow. And from step one to this step, it's a complete process which we are going to talk about. Okay. Now, there are two things which I've shown in the screen. One is a calendar and one is a diary. Do you have these two with you? If you do not have, then probably it's an offense. As a profession, you need to manage these two things very well. First is your calendar. So a calendar should be used for planning your month. So all those meetings, timelines, or any kind of work that you need to finish, you should mark them in your calendars so that you take all the actions in time. At the same time, you know which all the empty slots for you, which you can plan for doing various other activities. So first is managing your calendar. Please understand, whatever I'm saying, you will have to follow if you really want to create that growth path for you. If you just want to listen and do take no action, then probably this half an hour of session would not make any difference in your life. This session would make a difference for only those people who want to take action in their life, who want to be an action taker and not just a listener. Well, first is managing your calendar. Ensure that you plan your month. So Monday, that is tomorrow, when you join your office, just open your calendar and plan the entire month for yourself. Going to the diary, how does the diary help? In place of diary, you can definitely use your sticky notes, but I make a point to use the diary. That's absolutely fine. I'd leave it up to you. Put up all the points, all the tasks you have in a day in the diary. Just write them down in any manner, whichever manner you want, but you must write them down in the diary. If you do not do this, trust me, most of the time you would find yourself wanting around, doing nothing, chatting to people, going 5 6 times in cafeteria, and end of the day you don't find yourself productive at all. So ensure that you maintain a diary. Now, once we maintain the diary, how do we go about this is what we are going to talk in next slide. Okay. Now, when you have the task written in the diary, there is something called as the decision making matrix. Use the decision making matrix because that would help us in managing what task needs to be prioritized accordingly. So now to tell you, this is also called as the urgent important matrix. In urgent important matrix, so whatever tasks you have written in the diary, prioritize them as P1, P2, P3, P4. So all the urgent and important tasks must be done first. That is your top priority, priority number one. Second priority would be the important task, not the urgent task, because importance is given by you basis the actual importance of something, and and urgencies are created from outside. So give due importance to all the tasks. That is priority 2 would go to the important task. Priority 3 would be the urgent task, and priority 4 would be the last thing that you would be doing, or you would eliminate some of them as not required or delegate something. Okay. Now what I have spoken to you about is a conventional way of urgent important matrix. That is P1 quadrant 1, P2 Q2, P3 quadrant 3, and P4 is quadrant 4. Moving from this to a new way of doing things is what I am going to talk here about. Because if you search for Google, you will get lot many images, you will get lot many articles on decision making matrix or urgent important matrix. But what I'm going to talk to you is something different, which I follow myself, and I feel that this is entirely the point that if you take into consideration for yourself, that is going to help you in a big way. So in a new way, what is the priority is all delegations. Why do I say that priority is all delegations? That is because initially when you devise all the work you have, when you decide all the tasks in hand, the first point you should do is another 15 minutes to 30 minutes you should spend in all those tasks which you want someone else to do for you, which you want someone else to be delegated. What happens is that if you delegate this task in time, probably 50% of the task needs to be delegated or given to someone. You are allowing them those 8 hours of the day to do that work and revert back to you. This way, you will be able to complete most of the task in time. So if you have say 20 tasks in a day and 10 are to be done by someone else, ensure that you communicate it to them. That mode of communication preferably should be email communication as long as there are no constraints, because you can't track WhatsApp messages. Don't do that. If it is official communication, do use emails only, right? Let's go next. Next is your priority 2, that becomes quadrant 1. So here the priority 2 would be urgent and important tasks which you have to do. Okay. So you know this is urgent, you know this is important, you must give a second priority, because even your second priority would start just within 45 minutes to 1 hour of you joining the office and your whole of the day to do that task, right? So give that priority towards the urgent and important task, because you're already now told other people what they are supposed to do for you. Okay, now this is really very interesting. Priority 3 is manager's requirement. So there are two terminologies. One terminology is perceived performance and perceived non-performance. So generally what happens in the psychology term is that whenever a manager is giving you some job to do and you are not able to do that task in time and then convey it accordingly, your manager would start perceiving that you are a non-performer, even if you are doing a lot of job and you are a top performer, but your manager will start considering you as a non-performer because you didn't do something that the manager told you in time. Okay. And in the same way, you might not be an excellent in your profession, but if you keep doing the job in time, whatever your manager is telling you, most of the times there are likely chances that your manager would start perceiving you as a performer, but it will still not take you to big heights. Trust me, it will still not take you, because it is again a perceived performance. It is not actual performance, right? So ensure that you meet. Another important reason is that your manager also has managers and leaders at the top, and your manager is responsible and accountable for answering them for various reasons, various tasks. So you must give the due importance that not only your task is important, something that your manager has asked, because now your manager has delegated that task to you. Probably that's also some urgent and important task which you must be doing it, right? Next, we'll follow the same sequence, so we'll not talk much about it. P4 would become the important task, then your urgent task, and lastly, something that you feel that it is really not required to be done as of now, you can delay those tasks. So, are you there with me? Are you able to get that what message I'm trying to pass? If yes, and if you see that yes, there is some value being conveyed to you, do write in chat box value. I would understand. Just write value in the chat box. Let's make it more and more interactive. The kind of energy I'm trying to transfer to you, I need to have same energy coming from your end also. Let it be very interactive. Okay. And lastly, on this slide, if if you think that you are not able to complete your job in a day, spend a little more time, few days, that's absolutely fine. It will not make a big difference. Just to spend a little more time, you would find your life to be more comfortable. You would find yourself free of stress when you go home. You will find yourself as a productive person. You will find yourself being enjoying your work when you follow this task. Let's go ahead. Okay, now certain tips for the resume. Now, resume making, if you see this resume, this is one of the resume which I've received, and it's a 9-page resume. Unbelievable. Do you think a recruiter who is getting 200 to 300 resumes for one job has a bandwidth to read the resumes which are of 5 pages, 7 pages? If 200 into 5, that goes to 1000 pages. The recruiter would take another 10 days only to read through your resumes. Never do that. Your resume should not be more than 2 pages at any cost. If you can make a 1-page resume, nothing like it. Nothing like it. But ensure that it doesn't go more than 2 pages. Just curtail it to 2 pages only. And how do we do that? I'll give a quick example in the next slide. Okay. So now this is my own resume. In all practicalities, I really didn't mind sharing my first page with you. What do you see in the first page? This first page of my resume is absolutely clear. It is not crowded with so many words. People would develop interest in reading this. It has clear contact details. It would have email ID. It would have key skills. It would have certain achievements and qualifications. And it clearly reflects the facility management background as well. So you can write your own background. Most importantly, few things you must take into consideration. One is write a professional email ID. Rakesh love for you at gmail.com, not accepted. Funny Sangita at hotmail.com, just not accepted. Don't do that. Write a professional email ID. Secondly, it's always good to have your LinkedIn URL given into a resume, and ensure that you update your LinkedIn profile. Ensure that you are active in your LinkedIn profile. So, secondly, keeping a picture is really not important. It is not advisable to have a photo in your resume, because your photo at times start creating some perceptions in the minds of recruiter. Remember, even the recruiters are human beings like you and me, and they are likely to develop perceptions. Especially if you see in US and all, because of their racial issues that goes on, it is banned to have a photograph in your resume in the United States. Yes, it is. So let's go on the next. Okay, how do you make your first page? How do you make your first page really very appealing? Giving you certain examples for a learning and development professional. Writing like, I am responsible for conducting training sessions for all the employees in the organization. Trust me, there are 200 applicants who are from training and development background, and all are responsible for this only. So why should the recruiter give due importance to you? So you will have to write and convert your responsibilities into achievements. Just look at this now. Conducted more than 200 training sessions. for pan-India employees achieving 15,000 plus hours of training against planned 1,000 to 12,000 hours by achieving 125% efficiency, resulting in CSI increasing CSI's customer satisfaction index increasing from 3.5 to 4.5 in the scale of 5. How does it look now? How does it look now? Is it going good for all of you? Cool. So this would make a difference. This would make a difference. For an example, human resource people responsible for end-to-end recruitment for an organization. It looks so lazy for anybody to read that. It looks so lazy for anybody to read that. Let's go next. Contributed for recruiting record of 200 right talents at senior and junior level to reduce attrition rate from 25 to 20%, giving indirect cost saving in recruitment in the organization in 1 year. Next point, higher talents at 10 to 15% lower than the budgeted value, achieving annual savings of 35 lakhs. Now, here the recruiter knows that if they are hiring you at a package of 20 lakhs, you would bring a value of 35 lakhs to them or more than that, for example. Okay. So this is what you should be writing your resume in the way. Do not make it so lame. Do not make it so generic and looking so lazy that people do not develop interest into it. Okay, since most of the people here are from facility operations, I have taken this topic as well. One is a simple way of writing manage entire gamut of facility operations and administration for different sites. Other way of writing is this: manage 20.5 million diversified portfolio with revenue of 25 million annually and 150 million for the billing value for various services. Manage 150 people and 2,000 plus indirect people. How does it look now? This gives a clear picture to the recruiter that you not only undertake certain responsibilities, you are a performer, you are an achiever, you would actually add value to them. And this is what would create a difference in your resume, right? When it goes to the recruiter. Let's go next. Now, first step. What is the first step? A cover letter. So most of the people avoid writing cover letter. You must write a cover letter. But my suggestion would be, rather than, though it is written as a separate attachment, rather than having an attachment, write your cover letter on the mail body itself. Because that is the first thing that the recruiter would notice about you, that what you write in the email is what going to make a big difference for everybody. So write a cover letter. And how do we write it? I've just written a quick example. Okay, now this was one of the position which was communicated. And how do we write about this position to create that interest into the recruiter? So if you see it, this is a general manager, mall operations. It is located at Pune. Experience is 15 to 20 years. And they are looking at certain aspects, right? P&L, managing the P&L, managing various aspects of facilities management. They're looking at compliance, EHS. They're looking at COVID preparedness and all those things which are required to perform as a mall manager. How would I write when I have to write a mail? How would you go about writing a mail to it? I've given just an example. Dear XYZ to the recruiter, hope you good at your hope you're all good at your end. I have come across advertisement in LinkedIn. It is important to write where you have come across this advertisement. Recruiter would like to know that. Okay. And then position of general manager, mall operations at Pune. You should also write the location in the mail body. Probably they have given an advertisement for 3-4 locations separately. They do give. There are mass recruitment happens at many places. So clearly write the position, clearly write the location, and clearly write where you come across this. Okay. Going ahead in the mail body itself, now you write about what is your experience. So you are now telling I am based out of Pune with 22 years of experience in managing malls. So you are trying to meet the criteria of what is written into the advertisement. So I would quickly go through it. You're managing the PNL and you're achieving the profitability of 20 to 25%. What I'm trying to say, he is or she has written only for managing the PNL. You are writing here your achievement in terms of profitable, that you would make this organization profitable if you are given a chance to join. Okay. Compliance course, you see here, 90% in CSI and 100% on compliance, because compliance cannot be compromised, right? So you're putting across all your achievements here. Quickly moving ahead on, you're writing about the COVID implementation, including IoT enabled solutions. You are talking that you are well versed with the latest technologies available for managing the COVID situation. And that is a specific reason of writing. Okay. Now achieved more than 1.2 crore annual savings. So again, if they know that you are being hired for 50 lakhs package, you would bring them the value of 1.2 crore, right? That would give them a bigger interest into your resume, right? Okay, rest is you need to tell that you would be able to contribute towards the growth of the organization if they hire you, right? Okay, going ahead. Next is first 20 seconds are very important when you talk to them. So tell me something about yourself or take me through your resume is a very common question. How do you answer that question? Don't simply say that, I have done my engineering, Bachelor of Engineering in 2020 from Institute of Science, so and so, Dehradun. Then I have done my 12th, so and so. I have 4 members in my family. I have my wife and 2 children. The recruiter is really not bothered to know what is your family at that point in time, what is your year, what exactly your college name. No, don't waste time in that. First 20 seconds are important. So if you see, everything that is highlighted in white here is talking entire capabilities, the value that you would bring, your education, your background, your profession, everything is being talked about. I am a facility management professional with 22 years. You're talking about experience, years of experience. You're talking about your profession. I'm an engineer with masters. You're talking about your education as well. I'm an engineer with masters in management. You're talking about the scope that your work presently managing 20 site and diversified portfolio measuring 22 million. You are managed 22 25 million of revenue for your organization and taking care of 2000 people, right? You have brought in 1.2 crores of value for your client. I like to mentor my team. You are showing that you are a leader. You are showing, by making this statement, you are showing them that I am a leader and like to mentor my people so that they can organize themselves and prioritize their work. You are bringing in efficiency in your team by making this statement. You are bringing in efficiency in your team, right? I was also involved in the project. So 4 of us had jointly done something. 3 months of project was 4 months of project was done in 3 months of time. What are you showing? You are showing here that you are a team player, and together, if you are a part of the team, you would achieve greater success and bring in further efficiencies into your project. So in that 1 minute or 2 minutes of whatever you are saying will make a big difference and create a thought in their mind that yes, you are shortlisted. And after this initial introduction is done, trust me, entire interview will go very smoothly. It would go smoothly, right? So now have some examples. So whenever you are telling or giving answer to any of the question, ensure that it is associated with some kind of example, So if you get a question that, hey, have you handled any emergency, any time, any medical emergency, you should say, yes, I handled it in one of the case wherein one of our supervisor had met with an electrical shock. We gave them a CPR and first aid. We managed to get the ambulance from nearby within 15 minutes of time. He was shifted to hospital. He was breathless. We got them to breathing, and then within 24 hours of time, he was discharged back, and now he's happily working with the team. So when you say that you handled emergency, you also must give an example what kind of situation you manage and what exactly you did. Do not keep bluffing. I'm sure all of us have managed some of the other incidents. We have managed some of the other situation, whichever the questions are being asked, right? No single line answers, please. No single line answers. Like if you say, what do you manage in technical? And I say HVAC. And you again telling him, okay, now ask me a new question. You will have to give him a time to think for the next question. So you will have to talk about it. Merely saying HVAC would not work. Give an explanation about it. Talk for at least 1 to 2 minutes of time so that he understand what you exactly do in HVAC, right? The recruiter, the interviewer is there to listen to you. So you will have to talk. They would question, you will have to talk. Do not make them to talk more and you remain so calm there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Now, there is a typical question which is asked in interviews. How do you spend your free time? Now, people wants to know what do you do in your free time. So don't give a very generic answer that nowadays everybody is so hooked up in social media. So likewise, also spend a lot of time in Facebook. I spend a lot of time in just with my family. Don't do that. Your family is important. Facebook probably is important. I mean, it's up to you. But you answering that way would probably not work there. I have given certain examples. Have a look at it. Have a look at it. I coach people during my free time. I read inspirational books in my free time. I take classes on my communication skills. So you are trying to showcase here that your free time is as productive as your office time. You are being equally productive, and while you are doing something, you are working on your self development. You must say that. Yes, you can definitely talk about other aspects, like I like to do plantations. So during my free time, I try to do something for this Mother Earth. I plant trees, or I'm associated with some of the NGO wherein I take some English speaking classes for the villages which are around the city, or probably I visit some orphanages and old age homes to help people who are there. You can say that, but it has to be a productive thing. Now, whatever sentences here I have highlighted in ivory color, like I coach people, I read inspirational book. These are my answers, which I actually do, which I actually do. So these are some examples so that you feel that yes, these are certain things I should also be following. Do that. Go for it. Go for it. That would help you. That would help you. Yeah. And next is your strengths and weaknesses. Again, this is a very common question which is asked in interviews. So all strengths must come with an example, right? So if you say that I do mentoring to the team, then you will have to say that my recent session I have taken was on how do they manage their day and how do they become more productive, wherein I explain them the urgent important matrix and delegation of work. So when you say you are mentoring, you are giving an example, you are substantiating what you said. So do that. A weakness must have an action taken, okay, or being taken. So when you say I have some weakness, so people would like to know, okay, fine, you are much aware that you have a weakness. What are you doing to overcome that weakness? So probably if I say as Dinesh that yes, I'm not that fast in typing, or probably when I type, I have to look at the keyboards continuously. I can always say I'm making it a practice. I'm making it a practice to write one page every day without looking at the keyboard to develop my typing skills. I can say that, right? So in that way, you would have to give some kind of action which is associated with your weakness. And a mandate in the job description cannot be a weakness. If the JD says we want a person and excellent to be in communication, you cannot be saying your weakness that I am not good in communication, my English is not good. No. If so is the case, you should not apply for that position. If it is a mandate, if it is a mandate in the JD that you need to have that skill, don't make this as your weakness. That has to come out as your strength. You got me? Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. And another question, would you like to ask us anything or something? Just bluntly don't say no. This is a time to create an impact on them, asking some strategic questions. Just giving you some examples. Okay. What are your major challenges in this domain, whichever domain you are gone the interview for? What are one of the most critical area where you would, sorry, there's a spelling mistake, where you would want me to focus on? What are the specific critical areas where you want me to focus on? Strategic questions. What would be my team size? What in your view is a technology interface in our business? And what is organization's stand on employee safety, or what is organization's approach on employee development? All these are strategic questions. You can create hundreds and thousands of such strategic questions and ask to the interviewer, right? But don't say, no, I don't have a question. No, I'm fine. I've gone through your website and I know everything. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just ask some strategic questions to them. And important point, never ever ask and embarrass them saying, am I selected? Do you find me suitable? When will you get back to me? And why did the previous person leave the organization? It is none of your business. People come, people go, people are fired, people are removed. It is none of your business. If you do well, if you perform well, you become the champion of that organization. Do not ask such questions. Just do away with that, right? But there is a power in asking questions. Do ask strategic questions. Do ask. Yeah. Okay. Now this is the last slide and most important for you. If you observe, not mandate, this is definitely not mandate. But if you observe any specific quality in the interviewer, you must appreciate that while making a note of thanks. While making a note of thanks to create the last impact. To create the last impact. If the interviewer happens to give you some example of his life and if see there is some value into it, please mention it that yes, I like the way you had managed that particular situation. That's probably a learning for me to follow in future. Appreciate, but do not flatter. Oh, I haven't seen a great communicator like you. I haven't seen a professional like you. Don't do that. If you start flattering, people would know about it. Don't do that. Okay. So that is it with this session. We wanted to make it quick. I went a little fast because there were some constraints on the time. So I would now stop sharing my screen. And yes, here I am for you. You can ask me directly question, unmute yourself. You can ask any question if you have to ask. I would be happy to answer that question. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, good morning, Dinesh. This is Adagowda. So I went through this complete session and it was wonderful. It was
Why
very
don't
good.
you all switch on your videos? Why don't you all switch on your videos once, please? Request to everybody, just switch on your videos. It's okay if you are in a casual, it's okay if you are in a casual dress also. Absolutely fine, absolutely fine. Yeah, I know Shashank would be in a casuals. I know. Okay, okay. Yeah, great to see. So did you all see some value coming to you in this session? I know I had some constraints, honestly speaking, I had some constraints on this Zoom call. This would automatically get over in 40 minutes because the number of participants are quite a high in this session. So there were some limitations in terms of time as well as in terms of this number of participants also. There's a restrictions of only 100 participants, so I'm not sure how many could join here. Yeah. So did you see that value coming in, Adagoda? Maybe you tell me. And any other questions? Yeah, before we conclude, I would be happy to answer some questions for you all. Yeah.
No, just what I wanted to mention, this is Adagauda. It was very useful, informative session. Though people make resumes, but as rightly mentioned by you, the resume should be only 2 to 3 pages, is a very, very important, so that it brings down a lot of confusion. The one who is reviewing and going through that. So that was one very important point I picked up from this. And there were many things apart from that also, like how you should face the intro and what question you should ask. And the more important thing is you should go with example, so that it makes sense that when somebody is giving with example, it gives more impression that yes, he has definitely handled it. It gives more confidence. So overall this session was very useful and very interactive.
Thank you so much. I would like you to ask some questions also. Do let me know if anybody has any questions in this entire thing. You can definitely connect to me one-on-one. You can connect me through LinkedIn. I like to definitely interact with you and give that kind of guidance. I would be happy to do that. But since we have some time, do let me know if you have some questions.
Good morning, Dinesh sir. Shamim this side.
Hi, Shamim.
Sir, I got included a bit late. So I have one small question. So, whenever I apply for interviews, I get a common question from HR that why you want to change the job. So that land up, for me, it's a bit difficult position to answer. What kind of answer would be suitable?
Okay, cool. So just give me one answer. For how many years are you there in the present organization?
2+ years.
2+
It's
years.
almost,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, fine. So you can very well say that I have already been here for 2+ years now, almost 3 years now. And at some point in time, I don't want to regret that there was an opportunity from one of the biggest brand like you, and I did not even open my door. I don't want to regret on that part. And I definitely want to, you are a big brand, and I would definitely love to explore this opportunity so that I don't regret myself in future. And life cannot remain in the status quo forever. As a leader, as a professional, at some point in time, you need to make a decision and move on. Right? Did I answer your question correctly?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's helpful.
Yes,
yeah.
you can say that. You can say that. Any other question?
Yeah, I have one question. Hi, Shashank this side. So you have mentioned about cover letters, but while applying in India, in many of the organization now, they give you a link where the link hereby says upload your resume and some kind of a personal data they want, and like an academia data. So there is no scope of putting a cover letter, and this is being a new trend for many of the organization, at least who are technologically sound. Also, the websites where we mostly keep our resume is like LinkedIn or Naukri, or apart from LinkedIn, I don't think there is a scope where you can have a cover letter by default in Naukri or sometimes job or some kind of view. So what kind of be your approach, or should we change this as a market leader? What is your thought about this part?
See, cover letter would help you when you are actually writing a mail to someone. But in case you don't have a provision, as I said, your first page will help you selling in the market. Your first page. There are people who write their first page as the cover letter followed by their resume. So there are ways of doing that as well. You can do that, but I suggest not required to do, because you should make your first page so impactful. You should make it so attractive. Like I've shared my own resume, right? Rarely someone would share his resume live in the market, right? I did that. Okay. So it doesn't make a difference. Probably when I look for another job after 5 years, this would be absolutely irrelevant to me, right? That is going to be entirely different resume for me. But make that first page in such a way that people would just go for you. And I'm telling you, you do it right away, you would have number of calls coming to you, right? And since you are not repeating to me anymore, Shashank, it is up to you. You can leave the organization. Just on a lighter note.
No, it would happen right now, sir. Maybe sometimes in some part of the years,
Yes,
maybe
yes,
like
yes.
that,
So you
but
can,
not
any other
presently,
question
sir.
before we conclude? Any other question? I see Smita also here. Smita, anything from your end?
Hi, Dinesh. Nice to see you in a different, forum. I just joined out of curiosity to see that what you are up to. But some of the points in this session, especially the last bit about the gratitude part and all about the interviewer, I really found it very helpful, Dinesh. I would just say great going, and yeah, it was nice to be a part of this session. I couldn't join in time because of some work at home, so it was around, like, I think I joined around 20 minutes late. But whatever bit I could see, I really found it very interesting. I must say, I mean, whatever I listened to, at any point of time, I didn't feel that okay, it is something that I know already or it's a matter of fact and all. So it was all coming out as a great conversation and something new. So yeah, hats off to you, Dinesh.
Thank you, thank you. Any other question, any other query? I like the question asked by Samim. Any other question like this which is difficult for you? You feel that it is really difficult to answer? I would be happy to answer you for that.
Hey, hi Dinesh. Good morning. This is Kishore here.
Hi, Kishore.
Yeah. So one common question a recruiter has asked regarding salary expectation. So what should be our standard reply to that?
Okay, so let me tell you, when someone want you to ask for moon, ask for moon. Okay, at times people lose on their salary because they have asked less salaries. Trust me, if you are a professional, they would call you for interview, and if their budget constraints, they would tell you that we have a budget constraint, we can offer you only this much. But when you have to ask, you ask nothing less than 40 to 50%, nothing less than that. Nothing. Don't go for, I'm happy with 20%, I'm happy. Don't do that. Just don't do that. You say that as a professional, I have some value in the market and I want you also to value that value, right? And whatever value I'm asking, I would bring that value to you in your organization, right? Then you can further negotiate a little bit, depending, you can conclude. But if they are there are organizations who are happy to pay even 70%, but the candidate himself is asking for 25%, 20%, he don't get it then, right? So ask for it. Just go for it. Ask 50, 60%, whatever you feel your worth is. And someone asks why you want so much, your reasons to say. You say that I'm not paid well with respect to my current role. I'm underpaid. Or I feel that I would be able to add value to your organization with the kind of value I'm asking for. Or the position which you're offering really worth that much of salary, right? So you can have different explanations, but don't ask less yourself. Don't do that. If they have to offer you 25%, you're selected, they will offer only 25%. Trust me. But you should not devalue yourself with the start of the first conversation, right? And you should also ask them that whether you are falling into the budget or not. Okay. So that would give you generally people would not disclose the overall budget, but they would tell you, yes, you are falling into the budget, then you can go for the entire interviewing process. Yes.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Yeah. Any other question?
Sir, would you like to give any tips to make any, first impression while we are just entering the interview room? So, if
Yeah.
any tips you have to create a first impression on interviewer?
Yes. Yes. The first thing that you should do is a big, wide smile. That would make a difference. Just don't go laughing. Look at it, give it a pause, and a big, wide smile. Make it. It would change. That would create an initial positivity. That's the tip I would give you. Of course, you should be professionally dressed. Don't go into like t-shirts and all those things. Even if I'm sitting today, I try to feel more professional, though not putting all blazers and all. But I'm telling you again, go with a professionally dressed or proper attire. Just don't go in a t-shirt or something like that, and your big wide smile would create a difference. That's the tip.
Right. Thank you.
So can we conclude this session now? And you all can connect me separately, one-on-one, through various forums. I would be happy to answer your questions. Yeah.
Is
Yes,
there
sir.
any next session coming up, like you have planned after this?
Yeah, well, I have a entire 52 weeks coaching program which I'm working on, and I would let you all know how to go about it. In fact, for this session, there were 150, more than 150 registrations, but probably a lot of people said that they haven't received my mail communication. Do not know why. Somehow I tried making the WhatsApp communication yesterday, but probably it also didn't go to many. And the difference between I putting that advertisement in the LinkedIn and actual session was also quite a long. So probably that's also learning for me. So I would do that. I would do that.
Great. Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much, everybody. It was indeed a nice session, and love to be the part of this community. I'll see you again. I'll see you again live. Till then, as I keep saying, stay happy and keep learning.